All right. So this deep dive you requested on Paul McKenna's Change Your Life in 7 Days.
Okay.
From what I'm seeing here, you're really interested in taking charge of your life and like setting some big goals.
Right.
And making them happen.
Yeah.
This book seems like right up your alley.
Yeah, it seems like a good fit.
It's a 7-day program.
Yeah.
And it's packed with all these techniques that are supposed to help you make these positive changes.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about like rewiring your self-image.
Okay.
Shifting into a more positive mindset.
Yeah.
Even tapping into that flow state
Right.
where you just feel unstoppable.
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard of this before?
I've heard of the book. Yeah. I haven't gone through the program myself, but
Okay.
I'm familiar with McKenna's work.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's fascinating about McKenna's approach?
I think what's really interesting is that he doesn't just tell you to think positive.
Right.
It's not just like
To be happy.
yeah, just like put on a happy face and everything will be fine.
Right.
He actually gives you tools to work with. So he combines, like real practical techniques. He combines psychology, neuroscience,
Yeah.
even a bit of spirituality to create like a really holistic system.
Okay, so let's unpack this 7-day program a little bit.
Okay, sounds good.
Day 1, who are you, really?
Mm.
It starts with this idea of the 3 selves.
Okay.
Okay, so we all have an authentic self,
Right.
which is who we truly are at our core.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the ideal self, the person we like aspire to be.
Yeah, the person we want to become.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And finally, the one that tends to trip us up the most, the negative self-image.
Oh, yeah.
I think we've all met that one a few times.
Yeah, for sure.
So how does this work? I mean, how do these 3 selves interact?
So think of it like this. Imagine you're a kid growing up, right? And you're surrounded by these giants.
Okay.
Your parents, your teachers, society in general.
Yeah.
And you're constantly getting feedback from these giants.
Right.
Some of it is positive, some of it's not so much.
Yeah.
Over time, you start to internalize these messages.
Oh, yeah.
And you form a self-image based on them.
Right.
The problem is those messages aren't always accurate reflections of who you really are.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of times the feedback we get is based on other people's projections or their own limitations.
Yeah, and they don't know our full potential.
Yeah, exactly.
So we get stuck with this negative self-image that holds us back from reaching our full potential.
Right. And that's what day 1 is all about.
So day 1 is all about recognizing those beliefs.
Yeah. Recognizing those limiting beliefs and starting to challenge them.
Okay.
McKenna even provides a specific exercise.
Oh, what an exercise.
Yeah. It's called reprogramming your self-image.
Okay.
And it uses visualization and positive affirmations to help you kind of rewrite that internal script.
Okay, so rewrite those things that those giants told us.
Exactly. Yeah. Rewrite those negative messages that we've been carrying around for maybe years.
So it sounds like this exercise is based on the idea that our brains can change and adapt.
What I find particularly interesting is that this exercise draws on the principles of neuroplasticity.
Okay.
Which is, the brain's ability to change and adapt over time.
So by like repeatedly visualizing ourselves in a more positive light.
Exactly.
And saying these affirmations.
Right. By affirming those positive qualities over and over again, we can actually rewire those neural pathways and create lasting changes in the way we see ourselves.
So it's not just wishful thinking then?
No, it's not.
There's actual science.
There's actual science behind it.
Okay, that's what I love about McKenna's approach.
Yeah, he really tries to
It brings the science.
ground it in.
Yeah.
In research and real evidence.
Okay, now on to day 2, a user's manual for your brain.
Okay.
This is where he introduces some techniques for shifting your emotional state.
Right, like taking control of your emotions.
Yep.
Instead of letting them control you.
One that caught my eye was the 1,000-yard walk.
Oh, yeah, the 1,000-yard walk.
Have you heard of this one?
I have. Yeah, it's a fascinating technique.
So tell me about it.
So it involves physically walking a specific distance
Okay.
while consciously guiding yourself into a desired emotional state.
So you're like walking and thinking at the same time.
Yeah, you're using the act of walking as a moving meditation to shift your mood and energy.
Okay.
It's like a walking meditation to shift your mood and energy.
I read that Elvis Presley actually used a similar technique.
Oh, really?
before his concerts.
Interesting.
He would have his trailer parked exactly 1,000 yards from the stage.
Wow.
And you'd use that walk to like get into performance mode.
That's a great example of how we can use our physical body to influence our mental and emotional state.
Yeah, so we have more control over our emotions than we realize.
Exactly. It's not about suppressing emotions. It's about learning to regulate them.
So instead of being at the mercy of our emotions, we can learn to kind of...
Yeah, we can learn to consciously use
them.
The emotional state that we want to be in.
That's empowering.
It is.
It's like having this toolbox full of techniques to deal with whatever comes up.
Absolutely.
Whether it's stress, anxiety, lack of confidence.
Right, whatever you're facing.
And day 2 also covers things like reframing negative memories.
Yes, that's a really powerful technique.
What is that?
So it's about taking those painful experiences from the past and choosing to see them through a new lens.
Okay.
It's not about denying the pain or pretending it didn't happen.
Right.
It's about finding a new meaning.
Yeah.
A new perspective that can help us heal and move forward.
What else does he have in here?
Well, he also introduces the technique of anchoring.
Anchoring, what's that?
So anchoring involves associating a specific touch or gesture with a desired feeling.
Okay.
For example, you could squeeze your thumb and forefinger together while thinking of a time when you felt incredibly confident.
So you're linking a physical sensation.
Right, with a feeling.
With an emotion.
Okay.
And by repeating this association over and over again, you create a mental shortcut that allows you to trigger that confident feeling whenever you need it.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's like having a secret weapon in your back pocket.
I can see how that could be helpful in so many situations, like giving a presentation.
Exactly.
Or going on a job interview.
Even just dealing with everyday stress can be really helpful.
The more you practice these techniques, the more they become automatic.
Exactly. It's like building a muscle.
Yeah.
The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now let's move on to day 3. Which is all about the power of a positive perspective.
Ah, yes.
This is where things start to get really interesting.
I agree.
Because he goes beyond just thinking positive thoughts.
He does.
He talks about changing the way we interpret events.
Okay.
And the way we ask questions, right? Like really shifting our underlying beliefs and assumptions.
He tells this great story about a farmer who responds to every event with maybe.
Oh, I love that story.
Good news, bad news. His answer is always maybe.
Maybe.
So it's this reminder that things are rarely as good or as bad as they seem.
Right. And that our initial interpretation is often colored by our own biases.
It's like that saying, we don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's all about perspective.
And so by consciously shifting our perspective, we can change our whole experience.
Yeah, and McKenna gives us a framework for doing that.
Oh, a framework?
Yeah, he talks about reframing questions.
Okay.
So instead of asking, why does this always happen to me?
Yeah.
Which keeps us stuck in a victim mentality. We can ask, what can I learn from this experience?
So that's much better.
Or what's the best way to handle this situation?
Those are much more empowering questions.
They are, because they shift our focus from dwelling on the problem to finding solutions. Right, and that's where the real change happens.
Exactly.
That's so good.
And on day 3, McKenna also gets a little personal.
Oh.
He shares his own story of using visualization to achieve his dreams.
So he was a big believer in visualization.
He was. He actually visualized himself becoming a successful hypnotist long before it became a reality.
So he visualized it, and then it happened.
It did. And, you know, it's not just his story. There's a lot of research that supports this.
Yeah, like the basketball players who visualized themselves making free throws.
Exactly.
And their performance actually improved.
Just as much as those who physically practiced.
Wow.
So there's real power in visualization.
It's not just like...
Not just some new age.
some magic trick.
Yeah, it's not just woo-woo.
Oh, okay.
There's real science behind it.
Okay, so what we've covered so far in these first 3 days is really about understanding ourselves.
Yeah.
Shifting our mindset and starting to rewire our brains for success.
Right. It's like laying the foundation for the transformation that's to come.
Okay, so we've got the foundation,
We've got the foundation.
but we're not done building yet.
No, we're just getting started.
Okay, so let's take a quick break here
Okay.
and come back, and we'll delve into the rest of McKenna's program in part 2 of this deep dive.
Sounds good.
Okay. Welcome back. I'm ready to keep going with this 7-day program.
Me too.
Where do we go from here?
Well, the next few days build on that foundation we were talking about,
Okay.
showing us how to apply these principles to specific areas of our lives,
Okay.
like, you know, achieving our dreams and building a healthy, fulfilling life.
Okay, let's dive into day 4 dream setting.
Yeah, this is a good one.
This is where he really emphasizes the importance of not just having these vague aspirations,
Right.
but actually like defining our big dreams and like writing them down.
Yeah, like getting really specific about what we want.
He even provides a form in the book called My Big Dream.
I remember that.
It helps us get clear on what we really want.
It's a great exercise.
It is. And what's interesting is that McKenna cites research showing that less than 3% of people actually write down their goals.
Yeah, that's a really small number.
It is.
But it makes sense when you think about it.
Yeah.
When our goals are just floating around in our heads, it's easy to dismiss them or forget about them.
Right, they're just kind of out there.
But when we take the time to actually articulate them
Yeah.
and put them on paper,
Write them down.
they become more tangible.
Like you're making a commitment.
Yeah, exactly. You're making a commitment to yourself.
And McKenna doesn't just stop at setting goals. He provides this 5-step framework for achieving them.
Yeah, a 5 steps.
Envisioning the dream, measuring success,
Right.
overcoming obstacles.
Taking action.
Yeah.
And staying motivated.
That's a good framework.
It is. It's a really good framework, and it's effective because it addresses both the practical and the psychological aspects of goal achievement.
So it's not enough to just have a plan.
Right.
You need to have the right mindset.
You need to cultivate that belief that you can actually make it happen.
That's where all those techniques we learned the first 3 days come into play.
Exactly.
We can use visualization to see ourselves achieving the dream, reframing to overcome those limiting beliefs,
Right.
anchoring to trigger those feelings of confidence and motivation.
It's like all the pieces start fitting together.
Like that.
Yeah.
Day 5, healthy foundations.
Right, yes, taking care of the whole person.
This is where McKenna reminds us that we can't achieve our dreams if we're running on empty.
Right. We need to take care of ourselves.
Taking care of our physical, mental, and emotional well-being.
Yes, nourishing our bodies with healthy food.
Moving our bodies regularly.
Managing stress.
Cultivating positive emotions.
I love it.
He emphasizes that these 3 aspects of health are interconnected.
Oh, they absolutely are.
When we neglect one, it affects the others.
Yeah, it's like a 3-legged stool.
Oh, okay.
If one leg is weak,
Yeah,
the whole structure becomes unstable. So we need to make sure all 3 legs are strong.
I see.
Our physical health, our mental health, and our emotional health.
That's a good analogy.
It is, yeah.
He dives deep into the body's stress response, explaining how chronic stress can lead to a whole cascade of negative effects.
Yeah, like impaired immunity.
Increased risk of chronic diseases.
It's really important to manage stress.
But he doesn't just scare us with the dangers of stress.
Right, he doesn't just tell us to avoid stress.
He gives us tools.
Yeah, he gives us practical tools for managing it.
He even introduces some unexpected strategies, like interval training.
Oh, interesting.
We usually associate interval training with physical fitness.
Yeah, like sprinting and then resting and then sprinting again.
Exactly.
But for stress.
McKenna argues that it can also be incredibly effective for building resilience to stress.
Huh. I never thought of it that way.
It's like training our bodies and minds to handle those intense bursts of stress.
Yeah, those moments when everything feels like it's too much.
And then we can recover and then do it again.
Interesting.
He also talks about the power of naps.
Naps.
Did you know that famous innovators like Thomas Edison and Salvador Dali were avid nappers?
Oh, really?
They believe that short naps help them to be more creative and productive.
Well, I guess if it worked for them.
And of course, he talks about the importance of a balanced diet.
Right, eating a variety of foods.
He cites this really interesting study where children were given free rein to choose what they wanted to eat for 30 days.
Really?
And despite variations in timing and sequence, each child ended up choosing a balanced diet over the course of the month.
Oh, wow. So our bodies kind of know what they need.
Yeah, it suggests that our bodies have an innate wisdom when it comes to nutrition.
That's fascinating.
We just need to learn to listen to it.
Yeah, tune into those signals.
One thing that really stood out to me in day 5 was McKenna's emphasis on laughter as medicine.
Oh, yes. Laughter's so good for us.
He actually cites research showing that laughter can boost the immune system,
Really?
reduce stress hormones,
Oh.
and even help relieve pain.
It's like a natural antidepressant and pain reliever all rolled into one.
I know.
It's amazing.
And he introduces a technique called the inner smile from Taoist master Mantak Chia,
The inner smile.
which involves smiling inwardly
Smiling inwardly.
to cultivate positive energy and promote healing.
Okay. I can see how that could be beneficial.
It sounds a little woo-woo, I know.
Yeah, it does a little bit.
But there's actually some scientific evidence to support the idea that even just the act of smiling, whether internally or externally, can have positive physiological effects.
Interesting.
I'm definitely going to try that one.
Yeah, me too.
So day 5 is all about taking care of our physical and mental well-being so we can show up as our best selves.
Right, setting ourselves up for success.
Okay, now let's talk about day 6.
Okay.
Creating money.
Ah, yes, the money chapter.
This is where things get really interesting.
I'm curious to hear what he has to say about this.
McKenna challenges those limiting beliefs we often have about money,
Okay.
encouraging us to develop what he calls wealth consciousness.
Wealth consciousness.
He actually shares his own journey to becoming a millionaire.
Oh, wow.
He was once broke and struggling, but he managed to turn things around by changing his mindset and beliefs about money.
So he's speaking from experience.
He emphasizes the power of expectation and visualization.
Mm-hmm.
He even says, if you believe you can't really become wealthy, you will speak and act consistently with that belief, and in most cases, prove yourself right.
So our beliefs really do shape our reality.
It seems so.
Yeah.
He also drops this insightful quote from Ry Cooder, all the money in the world is spent on feeling good.
That's a good one.
It makes you think about what truly motivates us.
Yeah, like what are we really after?
He argues that money is essentially one of the rewards you get for adding value to the lives of others.
Okay, so it's about contribution.
And he goes on to explain the 4 keys to making more money by adding more value.
Okay, I'm listening.
Uniqueness,
Okay.
scope,
Right.
leverage, and perception.
Uniqueness, scope, leverage, and perception.
He emphasizes that it's not just about working hard,
Right.
but about offering something unique and valuable that benefits a large number of people.
So it's about finding that sweet spot where your skills and passions intersect with a real need in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He even suggests an exercise where you ask yourself, what is the unique value I can provide that will be of massive value to the world?
That's a big question.
I know it's a lot to think about.
Yeah, but it's a good question to ask ourselves.
It really highlights the importance of identifying your strengths
Right.
and finding ways to leverage them to make a positive impact.
Absolutely.
And that leads us to the final day of the program,
Okay, day 7.
Happily Ever After.
Ah, yes. The ultimate goal.
This is where McKenna focuses on finding true happiness and fulfillment.
Okay, so not just fleeting happiness.
He argues that there are 2 kinds of happiness, feeling good in the moment and living a meaningful life.
Right. So it's about more than just pleasure.
Both are important. But it's the second kind of happiness that leads to a sense of purpose and lasting fulfillment.
That makes sense.
He shares a really heartwarming anecdote about a grieving man who found solace in the belief that his deceased loved one would want him to be happy.
Oh, that's sweet.
It's a reminder that even in the face of loss, we can choose to find happiness and meaning.
Yeah, we always have a choice.
He also explores Csikszentmihalyi's concept of flow,
Flow, I've heard of that.
which is that state of complete absorption and enjoyment in an activity.
Yeah, like being in the zone.
It's that feeling of being in the zone where time seems to fly by and you're completely immersed in the moment.
It's a great feeling.
Csikszentmihalyi actually identified 8 characteristics of optimal experience which are consistently present during flow states.
Oh, really?
Complete concentration on the task,
Okay.
clarity of goals and reward in mind, and immediate feedback, transformation of time, speeding up or slowing down.
Interesting.
The experience is intrinsically rewarding,
Okay.
effortlessness and ease. There's a balance between challenge and skills.
Right.
Actions and awareness are merged, losing self-conscious rumination
Okay.
and a feeling of control over the task.
So it's like a perfect storm of conditions that create this optimal experience.
One key takeaway is that we tend to experience flow when there's a balance between the challenge we're facing and our perception of our ability to meet that challenge.
Yeah, so it's about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing yourself.
But not so much that you become overwhelmed.
Right.
It's about embracing challenges that stretch you and help you grow, but also recognizing your limits and knowing when to step back and recharge.
I like that.
McKenna even suggests some practical strategies for turning those feelings of panic or overwhelm into the focus of flow.
Okay, so how do we do that?
One technique is to lower your sights
Lower your sight.
by breaking down a large, daunting task into smaller, more manageable steps.
Okay, so make it less intimidating.
Another strategy is to raise your skills
Raise your skills.
by seeking out new knowledge, practicing and developing your abilities.
Okay, so the more confident you feel in your skills, the more likely you are to embrace challenges and experience flow.
So the overall message of day 7 is to find activities that you truly enjoy and that challenge you in a meaningful way.
Yeah, find your flow.
And that's a wrap on the 7-day program.
Wow, we did it.
What an incredible journey through the realms of self-improvement.
It's a really comprehensive program.
It is.
It touches on so many aspects of personal transformation.
So before we wrap up, let's distill some of the key takeaways from this 7-day program.
That sounds good.
What are the golden nuggets that you think will be most valuable for our listener?
Well, one of the most powerful takeaways, in my opinion, is the importance of self-awareness.
Oh, yeah.
McKenna really emphasizes that transformation begins with understanding ourselves, our authentic selves, our ideal selves, and yes, even those pesky negative self-images that hold us back.
Absolutely. It's like that old saying, know thyself.
Exactly.
Until we truly understand who we are, what drives us, and what we truly desire, we're essentially trying to navigate life without a map.
And once we have that self-awareness, McKenna provides us with the tools to reshape our self-image challenge, limiting beliefs, and create a more empowering internal dialogue.
It's about taking control of that inner critic and turning it into an inner cheerleader.
I love that.
Another crucial takeaway is the power of a positive perspective.
Oh yes, perspective is everything.
It's not just about thinking happy thoughts, it's about consciously choosing to interpret events in a more empowering way.
Right.
Focusing on solutions rather than problems. And cultivating a sense of gratitude for what we already have.
And he gives us some really practical tools to do that.
He does.
Like the maybe technique for questioning our assumptions, the reframing framework for shifting our perspective, and the inner smile practice for cultivating positivity from within.
And let's not forget those practical techniques for managing our emotional state, like the 1,000-yard walk and anchoring.
Yeah, those are great tools to have in our back pockets.
It's like having a toolkit for emotional regulation.
I like that analogy.
And, of course, there's the importance of setting clear, aligned goals.
Goals are so important.
McKenna reminds us that our dreams are meant to be pursued, not just pondered.
Right.
He provides a step-by-step framework for turning those dreams into reality.
Starting with envisioning them in vivid detail, then breaking them down into actionable steps and staying motivated along the way.
Yeah.
It's a great process.
And all of this is built on a foundation of physical, mental, and emotional well-being.
The foundation.
McKenna emphasizes that we can't achieve our full potential if we're neglecting our health.
Right. We need to take care of ourselves.
It's about nourishing our bodies with healthy food, moving our bodies regularly, getting enough sleep, managing stress, and cultivating positive emotions.
It's about holistic well-being.
And even though it might seem a bit out of place in a self-improvement book, I found McKenna's chapter on creating wealth consciousness to be incredibly insightful.
Yeah, that was a surprising but welcome addition.
It's not about chasing money for its own sake, but about recognizing our unique value, developing a mindset of abundance, and finding ways to add value to the world.
Yeah, it's about aligning your financial goals with your values.
It's about realizing that we all have something unique to offer, and that financial abundance is often a natural byproduct of sharing those gifts with the world.
I love that.
And finally, the book culminates with a beautiful exploration of happiness and fulfillment.
Yeah, happiness is the ultimate goal, right?
McKenna reminds us that happiness is not something we find, it's something we create.
We have the power to create our own happiness.
He explores the concept of flow, that state of complete absorption and enjoyment in an activity, and provides practical strategies for cultivating more flow in our lives.
Flow is such a powerful state.
It is.
And he also highlights the importance of living a meaningful life aligned with our values.
Yes.
It's about finding purpose in our work, our relationships, and our contributions to the world.
It's been an incredible journey unpacking all of these insights.
It really has.
But now I want to turn the focus to you, our listener.
Okay.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
And it can feel overwhelming.
It can be a lot to take in.
So I want to ask you, what's one specific takeaway that really resonated with you?
Yeah, what really stood out to you?
What's one nugget of wisdom that you're going to take with you and apply to your life?
And to build on that, I'd love to challenge you with a question inspired by McKenna's book.
Right.
What small step can you take today to move towards your biggest dream?
Oh, that's a good one.
It doesn't have to be a grand gesture.
Right.
Just a tiny action that will set you on the right path.
Remember, transformation is a journey, not a destination.
It's about progress, not perfection.
It's about taking small, consistent steps day by day.
One step at a time.
And trusting that those small steps will eventually lead to big changes.
You got it.
So there you have it, our deep dive into Paul McKenna's Change Your Life in 7 Days.
I hope you enjoyed it.
I hope you found it as insightful and inspiring as we did.
Me too.
And remember, if you want to go even deeper, we highly encourage you to explore the book itself.
Yeah, it's full of great stuff.
It's full of exercises, techniques, and real-life stories that will further support you on your journey of transformation.
It's a great resource.
Until next time, keep diving deep, keep exploring, and keep striving to create the life of your dreams.
Happy transforming.
And see ya. So we made it to the final part of our deep dive.
Part 3.
Into change your life in 7 days.
It's been quite a journey.
It really has.
7 days, a lot to cover.
Yeah, a lot packed in there.
Yeah.
It's incredible how much ground this book covers, from the depths of our self-image to the heights of achieving our wildest dreams.
It's really a holistic program, isn't it?
It tackles the mental, emotional, physical,
with financial.
Yeah, and financial aspects of our lives.
It's really a complete toolkit for transformation.
And what I love about it is that it's not just theoretical.
Right.
McKenna provides all these practical techniques and exercises and real-life examples to help us apply these principles to our own lives.
That's what makes it so empowering.
It gives you the agency to take control of your destiny instead of feeling like you're at the mercy of external circumstances or limiting beliefs.
Exactly. You're not just a victim of your circumstances.
So before we wrap up, let's distill some of the key takeaways from this 7-day program.
Okay, yeah, let's do a little recap.
What are the golden nuggets?
Yeah, what are the gems
that you think will be most valuable for our listener?
One of the most powerful takeaways, I think, is the importance of self-awareness.
Self-awareness.
McKenna really emphasizes that transformation begins with understanding ourselves.
Our authentic selves.
Right.
Our ideal selves.
Yeah.
And those negative self-images that we talked about.
Yeah, those pesky negative self-images.
It's like that old saying, know thyself.
Exactly.
Until we truly understand who we are, what drives us, what we truly desire.
Right.
We're essentially trying to navigate life without a map.
It's like wandering around in the dark.
And once we have that self-awareness, McKenna provides us with the tools to reshape our self-image, challenge limiting beliefs, and create a more empowering internal dialogue.
It's like taking control of that inner critic and turning it into an inner cheerleader.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
Another crucial takeaway is the power of a positive perspective.
Perspective is everything.
It's not just about thinking happy thoughts.
Right.
It's about consciously choosing to interpret events in a more empowering way.
Right, focusing on solutions rather than problems.
And cultivating a sense of gratitude for what we already have.
And he gives us some really practical tools to do that.
Yeah.
Like the maybe technique.
Yeah.
For questioning our assumptions. The reframing framework for shifting our perspective. And the inner smile practice.
Yeah.
For cultivating positivity from within.
And let's not forget those practical techniques for managing our emotional state.
Oh, yeah. Those are important.
Like the 1,000-yard walk and anchoring.
Yeah, those are great tools to have in our back pockets.
It's like having a toolkit for emotional regulation.
Yeah, I like that analogy.
And of course, there's the importance of setting clear, aligned goals.
Goals are crucial.
McKenna reminds us that our dreams are meant to be pursued, not just pondered.
We have to take action.
He provides a step-by-step framework for tuning those dreams into reality.
Right. Starting with envisioning them in vivid detail.
Of breaking them down into actionable steps.
Yeah.
And staying motivated along the way.
It's a solid process.
And all of this is built on a foundation of physical, mental, and emotional well-being.
The foundation of everything.
McKenna emphasizes that we can't achieve our full potential if we're neglecting our health.
We can't pour from an empty cup.
It's about nourishing our bodies with healthy food, moving our bodies regularly, getting enough sleep.
Right.
Managing stress and cultivating positive emotions.
Taking care of ourselves in a holistic way.
And even though it might seem a bit out of place in a self-improvement book, I found McKenna's chapter on creating wealth consciousness to be incredibly insightful.
Yeah, that was a unique addition.
It's not about chasing money for its own sake.
No.
But about recognizing our unique value.
Yeah.
Developing a mindset of abundance and finding ways to add value to the world.
It's about aligning your financial goals with your values.
It's about realizing that we all have something unique to offer.
Yeah.
And that financial abundance is often a natural byproduct of sharing those gifts with the world.
Beautiful.
And finally, the book culminates with a beautiful exploration of happiness and fulfillment.
Yeah, happiness is what we're all striving for, right?
McKenna reminds us that happiness is not something we find, it's something we create.
We have the power to create our own happiness.
He explores the concept of flow,
That state of complete absorption and enjoyment.
And provides practical strategies for cultivating more flow in our lives.
Flow is such a magical state.
It is. And he also highlights the importance of living a meaningful life aligned with our values.
Living with purpose.
It's about finding purpose in our work, our relationships, and our contributions to the world.
That's what it's all about.
It's been an incredible journey unpacking all of these insights.
It really has.
But now I want to turn the focus to you, our listener.
Okay.
We've covered a lot of ground, and you can feel overwhelming.
Yeah, it's a lot to digest.
So I want to ask you, what's one specific takeaway that really resonated with you?
What really stuck with you?
What's one nugget of wisdom that you're going to take with you and apply to your life?
And to build on that, what's one small step you can take today to move towards your biggest dream?
Remember, transformation is a journey, not a destination.
Progress, not perfection.
It's about taking small, consistent steps day by day.
One step at a time.
And trusting that those small steps will eventually lead to big changes.
Keep going.
So there you have it.
Yeah.
Our deep dive into Paul McKenna's Change Your Life in 7 Days.
Yes, come on.
We hope you found it as insightful and inspiring as we did.
Yeah, we had a great time.
And remember, if you want to go even deeper,
Yeah.
we highly encourage you to explore the book itself.
There's so much more in there.
It's full of exercises, techniques, and real-life stories.
That will further support you on your journey of transformation.
Until next time,
Keep diving deep.
keep exploring.
And keep striving to create the life of your dreams.
Happy transforming, everyone.